All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? Fresh face on a Wednesday. My guy Title had some things come up. He swapped with me yesterday, so Title was on Tuesday. Hopefully you guys got some winners there. I think you needed some Brewers, you needed some Mets, and I don't know who else you made. I was pretty tied up yesterday, so I didn't pay too much attention. Just saw the Mets were hitting home runs left and right. The Brewers put up 14 runs on Paul Skeens. Life was good. I just saw Brian Reynolds has had 2 home runs. I don't know the last time Brian Reynolds has had 2 home runs in a game, but hey, fun early slate going on right now. Gyiraszin, happy Wednesday, brother. We got a shorter slate today. Unlike our normal time when we're on Tuesdays, usually we have 10 to 12 games on a Tuesday. Not the case. We got 6 of them, and 2 of them do have pretty heavy weather concerns, and they're pretty 2 important games. That Mets game and that Yankees game both have some pretty heavy weather concerns there. Roth has it tagged as orange-yellow, orange being first, which is usually where I start paying the most attention to. We got that game in West Sac out there with the A's, highest total on the slate. We got the Dodgers. Fun slate on tap. Hunter Brown, Joe Ryan. What's going on, brother? Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, as you said, normally you're on here Tuesday, but hey, it's a Wednesday. It's just another day that ends in a Y that we're going to play some DFS baseball. So might as well have some fun talking about it. But yeah, I mean, we talked yesterday on the show, Title and I was saying how many teams are going to be north of a touchdown. And there was quite a few. I mean, the Red Sox balled out. I think I looked in the big tournament on FanDuel, and it was a Red Sox Yankee stack, I think, that ended up getting the job done. But the Brew Crew obviously put a whooping on Skeens. I mean, 14 runs, Red Sox 14 runs. You know, Tigers ended up having 9, Mets 13. I mean, we've been seeing all kinds of runs. Yankees 9. Dodgers didn't have as many runs. I wish they would have been one of them teams up there that had it. But, hey, we're on to today. But as you said, I mean, we're kind of messed up with those 2 games. And then what pisses me off more than, anything, DK, figure out how to make Ohtani a hitter, dude. You're literally taking, away one of the best stacks today because you can't use the damn best hitter in baseball. Like, come on, man. You guys are smarter than that. Ohtani H, Ohtani P. You could have 2 different salaries and everything. It ain't freaking hard. If you want to play them both, you play them both. Who gives a shit? But I still don't get it, Nades, why they can't figure that out, because I'm sitting there looking like, man, I really like the Dodgers. I like the Mets today. But I'm sitting there thinking, how the hell do you want to play the Dodgers when you got to take the best bat out of the lineup in your stacks? Like, to me, it's just piss poor. Like, come on, they should be able to figure this shit out. It's 2025. I mean, the computers can figure out. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, it's really not that hard, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a coding wizard or anything like that. But, I mean, all you have to do is give them 2 player different IDs, and it happens every 5 days or 7 days, right? Depending on when the rotation split happens. I mean, the other days, those days that he pitches, you just add in him as a pitcher because you always have him in as a hitter anyway. So it doesn't make any sense. You take off the leadoff hitter there, the best guy in the roster that you want to play, and you just can't do it. So now you're left with only 8 of the hitters, and a bunch of the points likely won't even be acquired through your stack. So now all the Dodger stacks just got that much more that much more room for being similar compared to the rest, right? It's just a mess. I don't know. They got to figure it out because Ohtani's not going anywhere. People are going to continue to complain, but hey, Dodgers definitely a pretty good stack. Looking like it tonight in my eyes as well. Say hi to a couple people. Our guy Little Neck in here, Sean Sullivan, Rodney, Jason, NY Stiegel, Juice, My Lanes, AZ Bob, Gangrene, Chris L, Woody, Jake Swales. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Gyiraszin, I ran the dry run off the top here, sorted by projected score, and let me just break it down for you. You got 86% Hunter Brown, 42% Joe Ryan, 30% Schitler, and 30% Gausman with, you guessed it, 92% Tampa Bay Rays. I think we're going to have a pretty interesting take there when we get to that game. And then you got the Dodgers, and then it's everybody else. It's the Dodgers at about 60 to 67, 68%. Tampa up there at 91%. And then Joe Ryan, Hunter Brown, and Schitler are probably the three main pitchers that you're looking at here tonight in terms of where all the ownership's going. So take that for what it's worth there. I will mention off the top as well, the weather. Minnesota and New York, Roth has it tagged as orange yellow. Not great storm timing here. A cluster of showers and storms moves in during game time. Best guess at this point is an in-game delay and eventually a finished game, but we're too far out to be overly confident in that. That's going to be important when we talk about pitchers in that game for sure. And then you go to the Mets and the Braves, same forecast as the Yankees game. Best guess is currently in-game delay, but that could certainly change. So both chance for in-game delay. Right when I think in-game delay, Gyiraszin, I think pitchers, right? Last thing you want is an in-game delay, especially if it's any sort of length, right? Those pitchers are highly unlikely to come back out after an extended period of time, right after their arm kind of cools down and they're off the field for some time. So take that into account when we do talk pitching. Let's go 8K and above. You got Ohtani at 8K. Right there. You can play him as a pitcher on DraftKings. Again, his pitch count concern is definitely a concern there, but he does have a strikeout happy Angels team. Nobody's going to really play him. He's going to be 10 to 15% owned. He does have strikeout ability against this Angels team. Looking at the strikeout props, his props 5.5 juiced on the over. One of the better props on the entire slate. The other props, you got Kevin Gausman at 5.5 juice on the over. You got Cam Schitler at 5.5 juice on the under, 4.5 heavy juice on the over. So 4.5 with heavy juice on the over. You got Hunter Brown at 6.5 juice on the over. And then you got Joe Ryan at 6.5 juice on the over. Logan Gilbert's not on the DraftKings slate. That's where we're going to pay attention to. So 8K and above, you got Ohtani, you got Rasmussen, you got David Peterson, who has a 4.5K prop juice on the over. Gausman, Ryan, Hunter Brown. Break it down for me. Where are you going 8K and above?
Yeah, I think this one, Nades, is a pretty interesting slate. I mean, you look at the weather too. So you're going to look at Ryan up here at the top and Peterson up here at the above 8K range. Are going to be a little bit risky, too risky for me, especially in a game you're talking about in-game delays. So, I mean, that's definitely a sticky situation there. But, I mean, you talk about Ohtani. I think Ohtani's interesting in today's slate just because of the strikeout upside, and his price is only 8K. I know we're not going to probably get, 7-8 innings out of him. That's just not been the case in recent times. They've by kind of limiting them. But the strikeout upside's there. I like it. I mean, there isn't really much of upside on the pitching arms here that I like. I mean, truly, there isn't too many guys. Below Ginn, I wouldn't play anybody below Ginn, and there's only one guy without the weather that I'm just not really a fan of Horton. But other than that, I think all these guys are in play. I'd leave them in my pool. You could play pretty much all of them, but Rasmussen's been pitching well. It's just too bad they limit him so much. I mean, if we knew we could if they let him, give him a little longer leash, I would like Rasmussen a little bit more than I do today, but I'd be willing to play him. Gausman, it's the Cubs, right? Like, I just have a hard time. To me, I feel like it's like playing somebody against the Brewers there's certain teams I don't want to be crossing the line with. Like, and the Cubbies are one of them. Gausman, I just don't feel is that good of a pitcher where he can shut down any team. But you know what? It is baseball. He's capable. He could go out. He could have a decent game. I just don't think it is a situation that's over a 50% of the time that he's going to dominate the Cubs. I just don't feel like that's the case. You talk about Joe Ryan. I mean, I would like Ryan if the game was going to be played today. I think there's some strikeouts to be had there. Yeah, he does give up a little bit of power, but I wouldn't mind that. But Hunter Brown's the clear SP1, on the slate for me. I mean, you look at all the optos, he's a handful of points ahead of everybody else. I like Brown here today, but He's 10K. So, maybe what we've been doing, it seems like, picking out one of the top end pitchers and throwing in a low end guy. Like, again, we talked a little pre-show. I think Ginn's going to be pretty high owned. You mentioned it here at the top of the show that he'll be high owned. But
he won't be. He won't. Ginn will be unowned. The Rays are going to be the most popular offense on the slate. Them and the Dodgers. So I
think Ginn's going to get some ownership, actually, especially when we're on FanDuel. I think it's because there isn't any really cheap arms, and I think if you want to load up on some of these heavier bats that are more expensive, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it could be to where I thought I like Ginn, and he's one of my favorite pitchers.
He's going to be sub 10% on both sites, probably sub 5% on DraftKings. I have this sorted right now by high stakes single entry. Again, this does change, but they got him at 5% in high stakes single entry stuff, which is obviously really, really small field stuff. When I go to flagship MME, he does come up a little bit, right around that 10%, but I don't think he's going to be over 10% at all, personally, myself, because everybody wants to play the Tampa side of the things there. So. Yeah, I think you broke it down. Hunter Brown for me, I'm in lockstep. SP1 for me, if I can get to him. I prefer him over Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan, his strikeouts drop off to lefties, and he allows a ton of power to lefties. The Yankees murder right-handed pitching regardless. Joe Ryan could definitely go out there and strike out 10 of the Yankees. We just saw what Zebby Matthews did against this Yankees. Yeah, he got hit for a couple home runs, but he still put up 9 strikeouts. For me, when it's only a $400 difference, ownership's going to be pretty similar. I'm just going to find the $400 personally and get up to Hunter Brown, who doesn't have a bulletproof matchup by any means. But again, I prefer a heavier strikeout lineup in the Red Sox myself with less power than the Yankees. The Yankees rolled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lefties. So there are only 3 righties in there. That was a little bit different. I think I'd keep Joe Ryan in there, but this is kind of what I'm looking at for my pitcher pool here tonight. My favorite 2 pitchers being Hunter Brown and J.K. Ginn. I'm with you there. And then I really like Ohtani on the slate. The reason being is I would like Schitler a lot, and then Peterson I think is good in tournaments against those Braves. But again, with the weather concerns in both of those games, I think people are going to sleep on Ohtani. And I think Ohtani is a good play. His strikeout prop, Vegas tends to agree there. The Angels strike out a ton. Even with the 70 to 75 pitches that Ohtani might get, he could strike out 6 or 7 of these Angels really easy, and that'll be enough at 8K. So for me, I'm going to go Hunter Brown, number 1, Ginn, number 2, Ohtani 3, then Schlittler, then Peterson, and then Gausman. Those are kind of the 6 guys that I'm looking at personally myself. I'm out on the rest of these guys on the slate. I'm not messing with Rasmussen. I'm not messing with Joe Ryan. I'm not playing Cade Horton against the Blue Jays. So this is kind of where I'm at from a pitcher take and a pitcher breakdown. Any additional thoughts there from you?
Well, if you look at it and you really just wipe out the 2 New York games that we're worried about the weather, I think it changes the whole. It's going to steam up some guys because you're taking out a bottom end guy in Schitler at 7K that people are going to be willing to pay. So that's why I think Ginn gets steamed up a little bit here with some of these weather issues. So, I think, with losing Ryan, I think that could easily, and Peterson, that leaves just basically Gausman, Brown, and Rasmussen and Ohtani. So where do we think that ownership is going to go that was going to be on Ryan and them? I think you're right. Where it probably will go to Ohtani more than likely. It probably could also bump up Brown's ownership a little bit because everybody's just going to probably lock a Brown and then they're going to go in and maybe throw in an Ohtani or Ohtani. I think is going to probably be the one to get steamed up, especially with these 2 New York games. So I'm just kind of looking at it with both scenarios, both eyes open here on what we're looking at. I'm going to probably tend to just side with that. I think those games are too dangerous for me to play pitching, and I'm just going to probably X them out to kind of be truthful, Nades. I think it's really risky, especially if you're only playing 2 or 3 teams like I generally do. I'm not gonna go that route, but I do think Ohtani could get steamed up a little bit. I think Ginn could get steamed up and Brown could get steamed up with these 3 pitchers that are really in play because nobody's going to play Carrasco. So, that guy's basically throwing, rolling kickballs up there to people. But yeah, I mean, I think this weather kind of is really obviously changing the slate. And two, on FanDuel, they got an extra couple games there too. So, I wish we could have us some Gavin Williams, over on this one, make it a little bit more fun. But, it's just not happening over here on DK. But I think this weather definitely is changing the whole outlook of pitching. And I think most of the ownership, I think logically would go to Ohtani.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think it's going to be Gausman and Hunter Brown is the chalk. That's what Saber has it right now, at least in single entry high stakes stuff. Usually high stakes has a better read on ownership than kind of some of the MME stuff. So I think a really contrarian route to go tonight and just play whoever you want is play Ohtani and play Ginn. You have all the money in the salary to do it after you play those two. They both have, Ginn, I talked about his strikeout prop, 4.5 base. Some slight juice on the under there, but you look at Ohtani, 5.5 juice on the over, some heavy juice on some books across the industry. You're not really sacrificing much when you throw out the other guys. Yeah, you got Kevin Gausman, 5.5 juice on the over, so that's where people are going to run to. And then Hunter Brown, 6.5 juice on the over. Especially in that, people are going to look more and lean into more K-prop stuff. I like pivoting to Ohtani and Ginn, or go like an Ohtani Gausman, something like that, and leave Hunter Brown off. But ultimately, my favorite pairing is going to be Hunter Brown, JT Ginn. That's where I want to play. Again, my favorite pitcher in the weather games would be Schitler, but so is everybody else's favorite pitcher. Personally, in single entry 3-max stuff, unless this changes drastically, I'm just going to fade those games in terms of hitter or in terms of pitching. And just take my chances. It's not like you're getting low-owned guys there. Joe Ryan's going to be owned. Schitler's going to be the third highest or second highest owned pitcher on the slate there. David Peterson, yeah, I liked him, but again, I didn't love it. He was more of a pivot there. So for me, realistically, I could see a 4-pitcher pool here and just take my chances on these 4 guys personally myself. Let's jump over Gyiraszin. I'm going to pull up the stone. We'll go game by game here and talk pitching or talked hitters. First game on the slate is that game in Yankee Stadium. Again, we'll talk as if they play, but you're definitely going to have to monitor it leading up to lock. Like I said, usually when I see orange first, it's not a great sign. Hitters, I think, are fine, at least in this game. Roth thinks so because, again, hitters will come back out. They'll be fine. But, however, pitching is where the real issue comes in. Any Twins or Yankees hitters interest? I talked about the lefties against Joe Ryan. Twins bullpen has been declining. One of the bottom half bullpens of the league since the deadline. What's your take here in terms of hitters?
Yeah, I'm not really fans of the Yankees against Joe Ryan. I don't think there's enough upside there for me to be looking at that. But on the other side, I think the Twins could be interesting just because of what we're sitting here looking at with Schlitter is, he's got 5 starts, 24 innings. His strikeout rate is nothing to compare to what it was when he was in AAA. He was at almost 32% in AAA, and he's just not been there. But he's been allowing an alarming 16% barrel rate to righties so far up here in the major. So I think that is definitely a concern. The Twins have, they do have some power. But they have 3 strikeout bats here that I'm looking at here. Buxton 28%, Wallner 28%, Rodon if he gets in there 26%. So they're going to be putting the ball in play. They got some top 6 bats here. All have pretty good wOBAs against righties. I just think he's allowing a 4.03 wOBA, that being Schlitter to righties. So I think that the Twins they could be an interesting play here today. A low-owned, I guess, kind of play that could end up getting you there. And like you said, hey, the bats could be in play today because, they'll come back out. The pitching is what we got to worry about in this game. If we think the game's going to finish all 9, then, fine, I'm good with the bats. But I think the Twins are interesting because we don't know what we're getting in Schlitter. We really don't. So, if the game was going to play, man, I'd really like the Twins for the leverage I'd be getting off of Schlitter. So, but, without Schlitter probably being in there, maybe I don't love it as much as I would if he was going to be a high-owned option today on the pitching side. But, I think the Twins the Twins definitely could be there.
I think people are still going to play him just due to the lack of arms on the slate that we already talked about. So I do agree. I prefer the Yankee side a little bit more myself, just some of the lefties, more as a mini stack. Cody Bellinger, I think, is a really, really good play on this slate. Ben Rice, I like Ben Rice a lot too. Jazz, I think is good. Austin Wells, I like him at 3,300, a lefty power catcher there. You can wrap it around to the top. So for me, it's the lefties on the Yankees. Prefer it more as a mini stack. And then on the Twins, I want the righties. I want Buxton. I want Kershaw. I think that mini stack right there, Luke Kershaw and Byron Buxton, is a really, really good mini stack there. You can add in Ryan Jeffers, Royce Lewis. I think it's definitely intriguing, but I do have more interest personally myself in the Yankee side. I think, Joe Ryan is a good arm, but some lefty power can get to him. And the entire Yankees lineup does hit the ball in the air, especially over the last 30 days against right-handed pitching. Austin Wells, Bellinger, Jazz, McMahon leading the charge for the lefties there in terms of fly ball rates. Next game on the slate, Blue Jays and the Cubs. Cade Horton pitches to contact, doesn't really strike anybody out, allows a lot of barrels. That doesn't bode too well here against the Blue Jays, one of the better offenses in baseball. Yeah, they don't hit a ton of home runs here, but they've been getting their fair share. Barger, Varsho, Vlad, Bichette, Lukes can even hit some bombs. I think the Blue Jays are really interesting here tonight. They're going to be pretty low owned. The Cubs bullpen has not been great either. You look at the Cubs bullpen over the last 30 days, 27th in baseball. I think the Blue Jays are one of my top stacks here on the board. What's your take here, Cubs and the Blue Jays?
Yeah, I like the Blue Jays today. Horton, he's got a low strikeout on both sides of the plate, 16.5% lefty, 19.5% to righties. Mid ground ball lean, 50% to left, 43% to right. Gives up 30% fly balls to righty, a little bit higher. Lefty's only at 24%. But the barrel percentage at almost 15% to righties, I think is interesting. But, you look at some of the lefties too here on the Blue Jay, like Varsho, 37% fly ball rate, Barger, 27%. Laperfito's got almost a 30%. So, yeah, I do like the Blue Jays today. You mentioned the Cubs bullpen has been bad here recent times. But, the Blue Jays have been creeping up, though. A month ago they were all pretty cheap. But now all of a sudden the Blue Jays are, kind of a little bit more pricey than you'd like to pay. But, Laperfito, Varsho, I think these guys are all in pretty good spots. So, yeah, I think the Blue Jays are I wouldn't put them in my top five. But, you know what, maybe they're about five. But I wouldn't put them in my, top handful of teams today.
Yeah, no. Excellent breakdown there. Next game on the slate is the other weather concern game being up in New York. It's the Mets and the Braves. Cookie Carrasco. I really wish, although I do think, at least Ross thinks this game should play through at least once it starts. It's more of a risk for pitchers, so you have to have interest in these Mets again here against this bad bullpen from the Braves. And a bad starter, Cookie. We've stacked against this dude for years now. It feels like Gyiraszin. We've been playing this game for a long time. Lindor, Soto, Nimmo, McNeil. You name it, they're firmly in play. You got Alvarez coming off the double bombs last night. You got Seti Mullins in this lineup now. Not much more to say. Mets, probably this top overall stack. Them and the Dodgers, I would say, are right there kind of in lockstep for me. What's your breakdown here in this one game in New York, Mets and the Braves?
Yeah, for me, Mets are my favorite. I'd have the Dodgers pretty close to them, but without Ohtani, it just totally ruins it for me with the Dodgers. So, I got the Mets up there number one. Carlos Carrasco sucks, man. This dude's literally rolling kickballs up there to lefties with a 12% K rate. He's at 21% K rate to righties, which is a little bit better, but he's got high fly ball rates, almost 30% to both sides. His barrel percentage is at 13.5% to the right sides. His WOBA, 421 to right side, 351 to left side. This dude is basically, he might as well go and start pitching softball underhand. He'd be better off. His ERA probably be a little bit better. But, it's just, this guy here is just somebody, like you said, we've been picking on for a while. But I definitely like all the fly balls too. The Mets have Lindor almost 29, Soto 25, Nimmo 26, Alonso 29, McNeil 34, Marte 25. I mean, they're all above MLB average. So I think, sitting here looking at the Mets, definitely for me are the top stack. I mean, Carrasco's just bad. I think they just beat him up. The Mets yesterday had good game. I mean, they added Cedric Mullins to this lineup. I mean, the Mets lineup got a lot better too here after the trade deadline. But yeah, give me the Mets. I got them as my top stack.
Yeah, I'm with you too. The Mets are going to come in lower owned, I believe, than the Dodgers and the Tampa Bay Rays, probably both of them. And I think the Mets are the best play on the board. I think playing the Mets with some of those Blue Jays or Yankees mini stacks, I think, is a way to get different because people are going to more mini stack guys like Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Mookie Betts, Tio Hernandez. They're going to go to the Dodgers more as a mini stack. I think flipping the build and going Mets with some Blue Jays or Yankees mini stacks or the Twins, I think is very interesting here. And yeah, not much more to say. I really like Mullins and Beatty, and then wrap it around to Lindor, Soto, Nimmo. I like the 7-9-1-2-3 stack. I think that's really, really intriguing. Obviously, the rest of them all firmly in play, too. You look at last 30-day numbers in terms of fly ball rates. Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, Seti Mullins, Soto, and Marte all over 26% fly ball rates against right-handed pitching. You look at ISOs, Marte, Mullins, Soto, Alonso, Beatty are all the power numbers for the last 30 days against a right-handed pitching there. Next game on the slate, Astros and the Red Sox. Astros might be a little interesting here. Walker Buehler at this point of his career, just nothing to be scared of. He doesn't get swing and misses. I mean, he gets barreled up. His expected ERA is in the tank. Astros been hitting the ball a little bit. Adding Jesus Sanchez in that lineup helps a lot. 4,200 is a pretty good price point for him. You get Caratini in the mid-tier there. Yainer Diaz is having a good season. I think the Astros are kind of interesting here. You look at the Red Sox bullpen, it has been actually really good over the last month or so. But again, it's the nature of the slate. There's just not a lot of spots to go. Any interest in this game? I prefer the Astros side of picking a side of this one. I know the Red Sox have been hot. They're coming off a big game last night, but I'm not picking on Hunter Brown on the slate. My interest would be on the Astros, if any.
Yeah, I mean, we should always be stacking against Walker Buehler. He sucks, man. He has not been very good. I mean, generally, I don't like to play the Astros against righties. I mean, they got such a better heavy hit righty. Their lineup's pretty much heavy right-handed. So, generally, you don't even think about playing Astros against righties. But Buehler's been a little bit reverse splitsy too. I mean, he's not been very good. His barrel percentage to righties is at 12%. I mean, he is more of a ground ball lean, but 387 WOBA to lefties, 336 to righties, ISO 231 to righties. He's been walking more. I mean, he's been walking guys at almost a 10% rate, both sides of the plate. So, I don't love it, but it'd be more me just picking on Walker Buehler, really. I mean, if I was stacking the Red Sox, I wouldn't. I don't have them in my top of my stacks today, but I mean, man, anytime Walker Buehler's pitching, I definitely think it's something you got to consider because that guy, he's like Carrasco, man. He just stinks.
Yeah, I will say, looking at the Red Sox, their pen is pretty rested. I mean, their top end has some wear and tear on their arms. But really, one guy, I think only one guy is going to be unavailable tonight, and that's Giovanni Morin there. He threw 34 pitches yesterday, so he's pretty much the only one I think that's going to be unavailable there. So a decent bullpen, especially over the last month in terms of some of the estimators and metrics that I look at here. So it does take down my interest on the full stacks, but I think mini stacks here and actually looking at this ownership too, I don't think they're that sneaky there due to these salaries. I mean, these price points are just too cheap. So yeah, I prefer the Twins, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays over the Astros now after looking at it myself personally. Just when you add in the Red Sox bullpen, how it's been recently, and this Astros team, I've just never been an Astros fan. I can never get this team right. So sure, they'll be the top scoring team in the slate here tonight, but it won't be for me personally if they are. Outside of, I think my favorite bat would be Sanchez. And then Caratini, Diaz, but it gets pretty gross pretty quickly there. Takes us to the next game on the slate. We're going to Anaheim. We're playing the Dodgers and the Angels in terms of this game for hitting. Good hitting environment here, especially for home runs. Temperatures in the upper 70s, 6 to 10 mile an hour winds kind of blowing straight out to center field the entire duration of this game. And our friend Kyle Hendricks is still in our lives. I mean, we got Kyle Hendricks on the mound. We got freaking Walker Buehler on the mound. I mean, we got Carlos Carrasco on the mound. What the hell is going on here tonight, Gyiraszin? Dodgers are in Anaheim, one of the best home run parks in baseball, facing Kyle Hendricks and one of the league worst bullpens behind him here. However, again, we talked about it. You can't play Shohei Ohtani. That's enough to put the Mets over the Dodgers, personally, for myself. Not much more to say. I mean, we know what Kyle Hendricks, he's not going to strike you out. He's going to allow fly balls. He's going to allow some power. I mean, it's just not much more to say. You look at the Dodgers lineup, their entire lineup hits the ball in the air for the most part, outside of Teo Hernandez and Freeland. I mean, the rest of them all hit the ball in the air. What's your breakdown in this game for hitters?
Yeah, I was just sitting there thinking when you were saying we got Carrasco, we got Hendricks. Like, damn, you're right. Like, what? Like, come on. There's got to be some better arms in the minors that, with these guys that continue to get jobs. Like, come on, Buehler, they all suck. But yeah, I mean, we definitely want to pick on Hendricks, and obviously you want to pick on that bullpen behind him, which we've been liking to do. But damn it, you're taking out Shohei. He's like the best hitter, in all of baseball, and we got to take him out. But I still like the Dodgers. I would probably put him as my number 2 stack. I just think, it's just kind of disappointing that, they still haven't figured it out. But I still think the Mets are number 1. I got the Dodgers 2. But, I mean, picking on the Angels, especially in that park, I mean, I really liked it yesterday. I still think that they could get to Hendricks pretty quick. I mean, Hendricks, too, you look at his game logs, he hasn't even been over 75 pitches in his last 4 starts because he's been going 4 or 5 innings. He gets beat up, and they end up taking him out. So he hasn't even really been – he's been getting beat up where they have to yank him. So, yeah, I mean, Dodgers for me are definitely interesting. I mean, Dodgers-Mets stack would be interesting just because, you don't have the high price of Shohei. So it kind of does cheapen the Dodgers stack a little bit. But, I mean, nothing's going to be more frustrating when Shohei hits a 3-run bomb and then it's just, goes 3 for 5 tonight with a bomb and a double, and they probably won't let him steal bags anymore that he's pitching. But I mean, it's just frustrating. But I think the Dodgers are in a really good spot. Hendricks just stinks. Now on the other side of it, against Shohei, I wouldn't be opposed to pulling out some of these, maybe 1 or 2 Angel hitters that maybe for some leverage off Ohtani, because I think Ohtani could get steamed up here, especially if everybody's afraid to play some of the pitchers in these New York games. I think Ohtani could get some ownership. So if you don't want to play Ohtani tonight, I mean, you got a good home run park. You're sitting here looking at guys like Mike Trout sitting here. I mean, Trout does owe him one. He struck his ass out in that World Baseball Classic. So, I mean, Trout owes him one. I mean, Ward, I wouldn't mind. Neto. So, I mean, one of these guys could run into one off of Ohtani, and I think I'm liking a little bit more of the leverage. I don't know if I really like a full stack or maybe even a mini. I think I would just kind of like to pluck some one-offs.
Yeah, I think one-off. You can always one-off Taylor Ward. You can always one-off Zach Neto. Logan O'Hoppe has some power. Obviously, Joe Adell and Mike Trout. I prefer other spots personally myself than going to the Angels. I just don't think Ohtani's going to get that steamed up. I mean, I go back to the K-props. Kevin Gausman, 5.5 juice on the over. Hunter Brown, 6.5 juice on the over. There you go. And when people want to punt, they're going to go to JT Ginn. I mean, Ohtani's going to get lost in the shuffle, even though his K-prop's good. People are still worried about that pitch count concerns there. And, I mean, I'm looking at a dude in Ohtani over the last 30 days has a 35% K rate to both sides of the plate, 40% to lefties, 31% to righties, keeps the ball on the ground for the most part, just doesn't. I mean, I don't see it. But again, Neto and Mike Trout, Taylor Ward, those 3 I think are interesting as one-offs there. Christian Moore's back, at least projected to be back in that lineup. when he was in there earlier, that dude was just murdering home runs against anybody he saw, especially against lefties there. So if you want to punt second baseman, Christian Moore, 2,300. I mean, because you don't got to pay to find out. And I want to spend up on guys like the Yankees spend ups. I like the Blue Jays. I like the Mets, obviously, like we talked about. So if I'm going to a team to get leverage like the Angels, I think punting it off with a guy like Christian Moore, who does have power against lefties. Yeah, he's boom bust, but everybody on the Angels team is boom bust. So I'd rather play 2,300 than 5K personally myself. But again, Taylor Ward and Mike Trout do have decent price points. Mid fours is not that expensive for what their upside is. On the Dodgers side of things, I really like the middle of that lineup. So I like Freeman, Teo, Will Smith, Pages, and those are kind of the four main guys I like. I don't like Mookie here tonight. Obviously, you can't play Ohtani. Alex Freeland, I don't like. If Dalton Rushing's in there, I think he's an interesting play too. He has some power. He'll be cheap. You can add him. But I really like that Freeman, Will Smith, Muncy, Hernandez, Conforto, Pages. I like those guys. I'm leaving off Mookie. I'm leaving off Freeland. And then obviously you can't click Ohtani. So that's kind of my interest there on the Dodgers side of things. Last game of the slate, chalk of the slate, Tampa Bay Rays. This projected ownership feels a little light. It might hold true. I just trust dry runs and I trust projections a lot because they drive optimizers drive the industry in DFS landscape. And when I'm seeing a 90% plus stack on the Rays side of things in 150 lineups, that tells me right there they're going to be owned. And then I look at the price points, 3,500, 3,500, 2,100, 2,100. I mean, they're super cheap. It allows you to play up to Hunter Brown very easily. And then if Joe Ryan's on the slate, you can double pay up easily against a bad bullpen and the best hitting environment on the slate. It's not the hottest it's been out there in Sacramento, but again, still mid 80s. However, 15-mile-an-hour winds blown out the entire duration of this game, straight up to center field, minor league park here. I think if I had to pick a side, I prefer the athletic side much more than the Rays. I'm going to be under on the Rays side of things. I think Ginn's one of my favorite pitcher options on the slate, especially against righties. This dude just mows down righties in terms of strikeouts, and he keeps the ball on the ground to lefties there. So for me, give me the A's in this spot over the Rays, but break it down, G.
You know what, man? You guys all know how I feel about playing. When there's a chalky situation, like the Rays, if they're going to be chalk, dude, they can't hit out of a damn paper bag in the last two weeks. Like they're literally like third worst in baseball in OPS. I mean, they've not been very good at all. I mean, they're hitting 216 as a team in the last 2 weeks. Like, I am not worried about that. Like, let everybody play them bottom 5 teams that can't hit for shit. Like, let them please play the Rays. I pray everybody plays the Rays. Matter of fact, I like Ginn even more if they're going to be playing, if the Rays are going to be that heavily owned. So for me, no way, man, do I want to play a Rays team today. I just do not like that. Even my own Tigers, I said it when they were hitting like shit. Like, no, man, I'd rather catch the team, when they're starting to go up and then they're hot than when they're sitting there at the bottom of the barrel in the last few weeks, can't hit for shit. So yeah, I'm not interested in the Rays at all. Matter of fact, like I said, I like Ginn a lot more than I probably should. But I think the A's side of it too with Rasmussen. Rasmussen's been pretty good. I mean, he doesn't have as high of a K rate against righties. He's only at 17.5% compared to 26.5% to lefties. I mean, heavier ground ball, lean to the right side, 58%, 41%. He does give up more fly balls to some of the lefties. But I mean, you just look at this guy. He doesn't really get barreled up much. I mean, he's at 4.5% to lefties, 6.5% to righties. I mean, he's just not getting hit. He's just not getting beat up. So it's just hard for me to, even though we like the park, the weather sounds good, everything sounds good out there. I think I just give Rasmussen a little bit more credit than he deserves. I don't like the A's as much, but I mean, Nick Kurtz is a dude who's got a 490 WOBA against righties. Especially if him being higher up in the lineup now, getting that 5th potential at bat, I think is big. I don't mind him at all. But, man, I lay a huge caution flag on that Rays stack. Like, I'm of the opinion, let everybody else play that. And I just hope, the pray. I mean, they won't probably be as high owned on FanDuel because the salaries are a little bit easier than over there on DK. So, I mean, I think on DK, the Rays probably get a little bit more ownership than obviously FanDuel, but man, I'll let everybody else play those Rays and sit back. If that beats me, then so be it, man. If the team beats me that can't hit for shit lately and all of a sudden they find their groove that day, well, then so be it, man. It's like, it's just like somebody, on the golf course or bowling alley or whatever. Some days you just get beat once in a while by somebody isn't as good as you. And if that's what happens today, because the Rays, then so be it. Then I'll live with it. But I am not interested in the Rays. No way.
I think the only Ray I have interest in is Brandon Lowe at second base. I mean, yeah, Ginn doesn't strike out like he strikes out his righties, but you look at it, I mean, he keeps the ball on the ground, and then you look at the Rays' entire lineup, right? They're going lefty heavy to avoid the strikeout rates of Ginn, who's over 33% to righties. And then you look at this roster against right-handed pitching on the current season fly ball rates. I mean, Josh Lowe, 17%. Yandy, 16%. Mangum, 13%. Simpson, 8%. Even Caminero has a 45% ground ball rate, 24% fly ball. There's only two guys in this lineup that have 30% or near 30%, and that's the Hunter F dude, the catcher that they're throwing out there.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm guessing.
Fiducia, yeah, whatever. I mean, clown show. And then Brandon Lowe. So, I mean, for me, it's only Brandon Lowe. But again, you play him as a one-off, and, I mean, he's going to be one of the more popular guys. So, I'm out on the Rays side. I really, really like Brent Rooker and Shea Langeliers as a two-man mini stack there. Talked about the strikeout rates. Rasmussen really doesn't get killed. The Rays got a good bullpen. I get it. It's good weather. In MME, I'd definitely be overweight on the A's. But in single-entry 3-max stuff, I think mini stack in this Athletics – even add in Kurtz. I mean, you go Kurtz, Rooker, Langeliers, really Rooker and Langeliers. Yeah, you got to pay for him, but we talked about, I mean, play an Ohtani and play a JT Ginn. Fade the Kevin Gausman, Hunter Brown guys at the top, and you play a Ohtani and again, you got all the late night hammer, and you got a 3-man mini stack that has just as much, or 2-man mini stack that has just as much upside as any of these hitters for the most part on the slate. So that's kind of the way I'm approaching it. I don't love this game as much as what people are going to like more on the Rays side of things. That's all 6 games, Gyiraszin. I'll throw it over to you to kind of round out the show with our summary. Your favorite pitcher, your favorite sneakier option. Again, it's tough because we're kind of avoiding pitchers in those 2 New York games. However, for hitting, I think those games are much more safe. So give your top stack, your sneaky stack, and a home run call before we get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think Gausman and Brown will probably be the pairing over there on DK today. But I mean, I like Ginn a little bit more than most. Like I said earlier, I think Rasmussen's interesting. If you want to take a chance on some of those New York games, I mean, Joe Ryan, I think is interesting. You could throw in Peterson as well, but. I think you just got to watch the weather tonight, and just kind of see what's going on. It does look like there's going to be an in-game delay, but, I mean, there's also a chance it could get PPD'd. I mean, the other thing, too, I like to look at, too, Nades, is, I mean, you look at Atlanta and the Mets, they'll be quick to hatch that one because they're division. I mean, they'll be coming back. Like, they're not going to be worried about that, So, I mean, there is, especially New York and Minnesota, they're not going to be worried about that either. So, like when they got a West Coast team over on the East Coast, they'll wait that shit out all night generally. So, that is a little concerning too, especially that Mets and Atlanta game. But, yeah, I mean, as far as the slates go, I think we're both, pretty much feeling the same way. I do like the Mets today. I think they're the best stack. But if you want to ask me for an outside home run call, I'll go with Mike Trout against his old teammate in Ohtani. I just think he gets him back. I think Trout is too good of a hitter. I think Trout hits a bomb off Ohtani today.
All right, I like that. I'm going Ohtani, and I'm going JT Ginn as my pairing. I think Hunter Brown's clear-cut SP1. I mean, look at what Woodruff was clear-cut SP1 on the early slate, which was 5 games, much like this. I mean, this slate could end up being 4 games. He was the mega chalk, got pulled after 65 pitches. You never know what happens this point of the year in baseball. I'm going Ohtani and Ginn. I talked about the leverage there off the Rays side of things. My favorite overall stack on the slate is the Mets. I think the Twins and the Yankees game as kind of mini stacks, even full stacks, is pretty interesting side, especially on the Twins. to attack some of that. I like the lefties on the Yankees. And then my home run call, I'm going to the Blue Jays, another team I like. I'm going to the 6-hole. Dalton Varsho takes Cade Horton deep here. I think Dalton Varsho is one of the better plays on the slate. He's projected to be sub 5% owned due to where he's hitting in the lineup and his price. I'm not worried about that. He's still going to see 4 at-bats at minimum, and one of them is going to be a home run, maybe 2 of them. So that's going to do it for this breakdown of the MLB slate here that we have. Again, monitor the weather in New York in the Mets and the Yankees game, or the Mets and the Braves and the Yankees and the Twins. And Gyiraszin, before we get out of here, it's the last chance. Last chance for them to click that $349 early bird package to get into the nation, get the entire NFL season, get all the early bird bonuses at the bottom of the screen, and better yet, join the SHIPIT games, right? So we just saw our guy Sheets. Good luck to him out in the FanDuel Live. I think it's an online final this weekend. $500K up top. He's giving away 5%, adding 5% of any winnings in his 2 seats that he has straight back to the pot. The pot's already at $78,700 for a free roll for 50 lucky golden SHIPIT members. ShipItNation.com/games has all the breakdown. There's tons of tweets about it. There's a show on this channel that breaks it all down. The biggest free roll ever in the industry. Shout out to our partners, SaberSim, for stepping up and getting you access to the winner circle as well. Potential ability to win the Rolex there and all the other prizes that they have for flying our banner on there. So ShipItNation.com, $349 is the last time at midnight tonight. That is going up. So last chance to get locked in and to get those 5 additional ballots for the SHIPIT games. Potential to win. Right now, it's sitting at $20,000 first place minimum, plus everything else that goes along with it. So that's going to do it. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Again, ShipItNation.com. Click the banner at the top. NFL Early Bird Package covers you the entire season. For Gyiraszin, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those ShipIt Nation logos at the top. We're out of here. Peace.